Okay, you can probably hear a little Miss Anxiety attack over here, just panting away. I swear to God, she can be laying there snoring. And I mean, I already have been woke up so many times. So it was just like, and I'm just laying there. I'm on the couch now. So I'm just laying there and laying there. And she's snoring. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up and start recording. Oh, because I was looking on my TikTok and I saw the thing that just hit me where I was like, okay, I got to just do my recording. And so I quietly get up, go to the bathroom. Immediately, she sits up like, what's going on? And starts panicking. Like, it's like every morning we do the same thing. So, anyways, there's so many things going on, you know, and it was all these things like what I had said was going to be going, you know, horrible, horrible stuff. Dads wiping out families and whatnot. And it's hard because, like, I know, like, that's these souls are working out this stuff, you know, like, you just got to get into this other, and to the other people can seem heartless and cold because they're in the illusion. But when you get yourself, like, you have to attach to it to be affected by it, and attaching to it is so toxic. So it's better to stand back. And that's not to say you're not going to be affected by something, but you got to keep yourself in check. You know, you got to, you know, weigh out the options, you know, to really get bothered. Because, like, man, I mean, there's people, you just, there's people who talk about this stuff all the time on their videos, and they're having a hard time getting through videos because this stuff is so, it's horrible what's happening with, I bet I've been saying, I started saying in 2015 this stuff was going to happen. And that is one thing too that really gets me is, or no, I think it was 2016 is when I was saying it was going to happen, because it was after my dark night. My dark night, I didn't do much but just try and survive, just trying to get through the illusions of watching me kill myself every day and just feeling like the most worst person in the whole wide world. So getting through those days, that was 2015. 2016 is when I started being with all the visions, and I started having to get off all the pharmaceuticals. It was after that, getting off the pharmaceuticals, things really started picking up. The chemicals, I think, really mute us. I think all the chemicals do something to mute us inside. So, and I was on a lot. So, but a lot of people use a lot. Like, a lot of people, I don't take any drugs, but they take ibuprofen all day long. So people, they set their own rules. They make their own judgments. Like I said, you know, they'll decide, oh, well, this is okay because they do it. But everything else that someone else does isn't okay. Okay, this is going to be all over the place. Oh, God. It's already like, it's like, fuck. Okay. So, okay, so, Harvard thing, obviously, but you know, I said a long while ago that the universities were gonna, all the schooling and stuff is all gonna go down. They're all part of it. And, you know, when people start really putting it together about kids going missing there, and then, you know, when they start putting it together about what a good way to get kids to get to come to other countries for their education, and, but you don't realize unless you're paying attention to what goes on with people that if your kid goes missing in another country, all the loopholes and the difficult things. So we don't even hear about all the different kids that go missing. You know, it's just, it's like they create these like fishing ponds for themselves. And it's like they dangle something here. You want this? We got this cool thing. You can have it. This cool piece of paper. It says you're smart right here. And everybody's like, I want one, I want one. And then the people who own the corporations, yeah, tell them they can't even have a job if they don't have one. Yeah, yeah. You know, because they're all sitting around the table thinking of like a dastardly things they can do to us. So, but we all like, oh yeah, well I really want that. I want that piece of paper. I want all those pieces of paper. I want those green pieces of paper. You know, we get all in. You know, we're chasing something. That's part of the 3D. It's so the soul can see itself. in kind of a nasty way, so it can see what's, it's kind of like you go from life to life and you kind of build this toxicity inside of you, your DNA or whatever, our carry, our essence. And you, the pains and the traumas that you take from life to life, you don't heal them. So then they kind of make your soul kind of dirty or something. And so, then you go into these lives and you get to see how dirty, but there's certain aspects of this that I don't know how to explain. Yeah, it's so much more if you just ask your guides to show you stuff, because they'll show you in a way you'll under that, because all this stuff it's more. Everything is, it's more. It's the growth. It's the expansion. It's the movement. Everything is so, and everything is connected. And so, but the connections and stuff, it's hard to explain. Well, you can see it, but it's hard to explain it. Like telepathy is a lot more effective. Words were used to give us these limitations and stuff. I mean, just yesterday, what was a word I wrote? Desert, I think. And then they do dessert. And then they just make these words that are so similar and spelled. It's all just to fuck with us. And what did I say about the taking away the cursive writing? And I got people out there talking about that, because it's so they can lie to history, to all these kids that don't know how to read cursive. It's so obvious. But I think, it's just part of, like, people aren't just like awake to the whole thing. It's like once they see it, you start seeing things and it's obvious. But so many people, just like this one girl who I said, she says there's no aliens, and she says, what was another one? Because it was two things that she has told me that I was just like, what? Especially because she's a big content creator. There's a lot. I'm telling you, there's a lot that don't see all this stuff. And there's a lot that haven't done their healing. And so, like, this account, she's out there all day long. She's on live. She is nonstop doing videos. And but she's very focused on what they're doing to us. And it's not just one thing, like, because she's very informative because of her obsessiveness and her fear. See, she's bringing us all this information, but the problem is, for her, she's not doing her healing. I don't know about, like, what stuff raises your vibration and stuff. Awareness raises your vibration, because you have to start then controlling your fear. But I don't know if her doing that would be raising our vibration or whatever. So to me, there's a lot of people who are out there, have been doing this work for years, trying to wake people up to certain aspects of this stuff for years, and haven't even begun to heal anything. And so that is where it's just like, man, there is going to be so many people that are going to have so much shit to heal coming up here, because they're not, everything is the focus outside of them of what's happening, and not focused on their inside and what's happening for them. And we've been, like, trained to, a guy takes out his whole family and it's tragic and stuff, and we've all been, like, trained to kind of fear that or something. I just saw like we get hyper focused. That's why they do it on the news, to get us to be like, oh my God, that could happen to us. Oh my God. And it's so sad. It's so tragic. Get depressed, get sad. Life is so hard. God's so mean. Why does this happen? And oh, we got the drug company, and there comes a commercial. Oh, I got this thing. This will make you so happy. Come on over. And then just ask your dog about it, your doctor about it. Oh, that's all the doctor is just call him up. Hey, I saw a commercial. Oh, okay. Here's a prescription. Here you go. And so the person, had a bunch of things coming into my head while I was saying that stuff, so I gotta catch up. Now these stupid drug names coming on all these fucking commercials, because they're catchy little, because that's what they gotta do. And then they make little catchy phrases. It's all just marketing. It's all they are, is marketing to you all the time. And people who feel bad about themselves and stuff are looking to feel better, then they go in these directions that are not going to make them feel better on the inside. And another thing I talked about such a long while ago, and now I've seen other people start talking about. Okay, yeah, the girl. Okay, so the all those people who are sharing so much content, it helps wake us all up. So it's like good karma for them. So they're putting some stuff out of from other lives back into balance by playing that role. But they still have all of that work still ahead of them. And they're going to be hit hard, just like a lot of the other people who don't see anything coming. And so, and the biggest thing about what we're going to learn about is just this fake world that we've been being like in a habitat and stuff like that. Like, everything is supernatural. Like, I mean, but it was a long while ago when I was talking about, it was, man, because there's a lot of it seems like there's a lot of different videos, like some things will link together about it, but when I was talking about people all trying to look like each other and fix them, going in and doing all this surgery, and how they get these mannequin girls like Kardashians and stuff go in and change this and change that, and then make this beauty standard that is completely fake. And so then all these girls are trying to chase it, and everybody's trying to look like the same person. In this girl's video yesterday, she was talking about something, how this phenomena, about like we want to look at something. That's why we'll turn and look at something unusual, and we'll all stare at something. It's not because we're trying to be rude. It's because it's interesting. It interests our eyes, our mind, to look at something unusual. And so that is like, it's stimulating. And so all of our uniqueness is more of the stimulation, and then our acceptance of ourself is also the acceptance of like the ancestor, like all of the past who gave you, like, because you have your grandma's nose, you got your grandpa's ear, like you've got all these things, these connections through this lineage process, like this ancestry. And so you represent these different parts. And so, just like for me going and getting implants, instead of just being proud of my flat chest, I had to go and get implants and then be like, oh my God, these are horrible. They're so uncomfortable. And, I'm so disappointed in myself and my insecurity. And then, of course, in the media and stuff, then all these girls who didn't go do that, and you start seeing them, and it's like, oh my gosh, I like how it looks. Like, why couldn't I see that in myself? Why did I have to see it in somebody else? But, that is the process. But the one part of it is, then to me, I'm not a good role model for all the girls who have flat chests, because when we're proud of the different things that we are, different aspects, then we're a role model for the people who also have those, because we're not the only one who has these things. We're a collection of these things to create this avatar. And so the different kinds of things are like your connection to all of these different like people and generations and stuff, and different cultures, different places. It is like a roadmap of your DNA, and everybody's like trying to change that to look like this other thing, which is making everybody just look the same, which is very uninteresting. And so the people who want to just look like themselves, then they become the ones that are more interesting and more beautiful because everybody else just looks the same. So it was like it gets out of balance, you see, and because they all have the same desire, just like I said, you just hear one after another, you know. I mean, they're all out there manifesting, and they all want to manifest. And I get told, like, well, you need to manifest this. You need it. It's like, man, it's so annoying when people don't know your content and they just start telling you these things like, it's just ego. You know, we got to be a lot more self-aware of running around and telling everybody what we think they need to hear, especially when we don't even have any idea of what they talk about. And you know, we hear them for 5 minutes and suddenly we think we know them. That's you know, that's part of this entitled kind of egocentric outlook on how we look at others, and the detachment of their own separate identities or something. It's kind of a narcissistic way of looking at things through ego, is not understanding or considering the uniqueness of who they are. You automatically assume that they are how you think they are. And so, you know, it's a process. And that's where it gets out of balance, to get in that giver taker, you know, because the taker has those narcissistic tendencies. And any of these diagnoses that you get diagnosed with, you just work on them. You know, when you are aware of certain tendencies, you just work on them. It's getting yourself in balance. It's not just going and leaning into it. And that's what they want you to do, is just lean into your tendencies and surrender, hold up a white flag. Oh, I can't do anything about it. I'll just take a pill and, you know, and that's what they want. That's the surrender. Don't do that. And one thing too is, man, I'm skipping around. And it starts becoming distracting because like part of my mind is looking over here. Part of it's trying to stay focused on, like, it's like a lot of stuff going on. That's why I said it's like Starship Enterprise up in there. So, one thing too is, you know, so many people with their medical testimonies and stuff like that. And I just saw, this was the one that got me where I was like, I was going to go talk. I just started like crying. I commented on this person's video. And when I commented, my first comment was, okay, so the video was this woman, and she was giving like an update, or I don't know what the original video was, but somebody was asking her something about that. So I was only getting this story midway in. And so she was at home, and her husband and her kids went out for a scooter ride, and just down the street, just down their driveway, down to the road, which was about 3/4 of a mile. And they call, and then when they got to the bottom, she was supposed to drive down and pick them up so they didn't have to drive back up. And so the husband called at 4:01. She got down there at 4:04, and he was laying on the ground being worked on, and he's all bloody, and worked on by the neighbors. It took 10 minutes to get the ambulance there, and but her kids and stuff, somebody got a neighbor, somebody called 911 and got her and stuff like that. So anyways, it all happened really quick, and I don't know, I guess he's still in the hospital, and he has got brain injury, because when I was reading the comments, there were so many people saying about brain injury. So I was like, oh, so he must have got brain injury and he's in the hospital. And I've met so many people who have gotten a brain injury, and every time I do, I always feel like it's because I'm supposed to share some information with them, because it's such a difficult journey when you start it. And most people, they look at you and they don't think anything's wrong because you look fine. You look fine. They don't understand. And it is difficult too. It depends, because brain injuries can be so, they're unique in themselves. Everybody's can be completely different. And you have certain areas of your brain that can be, that are impacted. And so where like mine was my memory and my executive function, and I think those were my biggest things, was my executive function. So that meant it was slower for me to process. Like it took me a minute. I have to sit there and think like, wait, what? And I still am like that. It still is like, but I don't look at it as like something's wrong with me. I look at it as kind of like I'm not paying good enough attention. And so, and I don't know if that made it, because I was always kind of leaned that way anyways. Like I've said before, I've always been the daydreamer, not paying attention, getting in trouble and stuff like that. And so I always had that. So I don't know if it kind of just took down the rest of the barrier. And so I just, mind wander around. So, but I just don't let a lot of this stuff bother me. When it very first started, a lot of this stuff really bothered me. And then plus you have the awareness, because you know how you used to be. So you have to go through like a big process, because you can't do things that you used to could do. And then you do weird things. You start losing your friends because you're different. You're not the same person. And so you start losing friends. You can't do the same things. You're just different. And you're different halfway through your life. And then all of a sudden it's like, and each individual is going to have their own process. Like I had to go through the whole thing of leaving my identity behind as being a nurse. And, you identified as it. It was like, that's who you were. That's who your friends were. That was your lifestyle. Everything was about that. And so, and I tried to hang on to that for a while. And then it was just too obvious that something was wrong with me. And I knew something was wrong with me. But, I wasn't getting a proper diagnosis because it was medical malpractice. And the doctors have each other's backs. And so it was, it wasn't that easy. And then, so I didn't have support. I didn't get rehab. I didn't get any of that kind of stuff. And like a year in, when the doctor in Seattle was diagnosing me, and I was going through all these tests, because I had a bunch of different neurologists. They'd always put me through all these tests, but then they kept being like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And they wanted to drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. And I just wanted to get back to work. All I wanted to do was just get back to work. And my doctor had told me that there was this whole thing with disability rules or something. So I should be able to work under my license with like a special accommodation or something. Like I don't know. But that was not true. That was not true. They were like, fuck that. I had the nursing board say they were going to come after me. And if they found out I had been working with a brain injury, that they were going to sue me. And they said that, or it could be criminal charges. And I already knew, like, there was stuff I was like, fuck. I'd already made some mistakes. I was already panicking in myself just on the mistakes I made, because being a nurse, and you make a mistake, you kill somebody. And so I have all this pressure, this stress, and oh man, it was rough. And then I was married, to the last alcoholic I was married to. In that last bit of, because I already had the brain injury when I met him, and then I was coming out of another relationship, and then somebody else sweeps in, always like, oh, but I love you, the best thing in the whole wide world. And and then, and it's all for their own thing, it's not for me. But, I'm still really weak-minded, even until then, even working as a professional and stuff. And then plus with the brain injury and stuff. But that was all part of my journey. That was all stuff that was supposed to happen. Oh, yeah, that's what, so the woman who was telling about her that happening with her husband, and I went in and commented, and I said, you may not want to hear this, but because she was like, he's 37 years old, and something about the helmet. He should have had his helmet on or something like that. That was, how upset she is about she just wouldn't have thought, he needed that helmet or whatever. So I said, you may not want to hear this, but with or without the helmet, it was still going to happen. It's always going to happen. That's what people got to see. There's nothing you can do. There is no safety measure. You could have your seatbelt on or you could have your seatbelt off. You could have whatever it's going to be. You could have every safety measure there, and the safety measure is going to be the thing that takes you out. When it is your time to go or your time to experience to me, there's a lot of things that happen in life to knock you on your path, to get you focused where you need to be. And after the brain injury, and then the part that got me upset, where I started crying, was when I left her another part of the message when I saw these people were talking about brain injury. And I said, brain injury is very difficult to heal. And, people get really irritated. Like, I don't remember how I said it, but I was, hopefully you can really stick by them, because it is very hard. And people will start doing things like there was, especially in the beginning. I don't think I do it as much now, but still, I'll still have my kids be like, Mom, you just said that. And, but that's something in the beginning. If you get the frontal lobe injury, yeah, you could say something 100 times, be like, yeah, and you don't know that you're doing it. You don't know that you're saying it. It happens after people have strokes. And so it's like it takes a while for your brain to like catch up and stuff. And then before, when they told me it takes like 2 years, and then you're that's your damage you have forever. And so, you're watching, when I was my 2 years, I was still, it was rough. And I still have the things, there's just a lot of things that don't bother me, like you adapt to certain things. So certain things get easier. Like, where I used to be able to, like, I could say everybody's phone number, every credit card number I had. Like, I knew all these numbers. I could tell you when and where I met you. I could tell you what I was wearing. I could tell, like, I had a really good memory. And then when it happened and all that went, and I would struggle to try and remember. I couldn't put numbers together. I couldn't put time together. There was just a lot of things that I had to try and it wasn't even like relearn. It was because it was a brain injury, and like with time, it was like all of a sudden it just, my relationship with time changed. And that is where I started seeing all of our relationships with time is toxic. Like, I started seeing it for what it was. But, I had to, I had to get a brain injury to have it happen. But so, but a lot of people, when they get around people who have like a brain injury or a stroke or whatever, it's all any kind of, we've got people, with this whole thing I've seen, people have dementia and stuff, is that they're doing stuff to people with their brains and shit. But, you start repeating things, you don't remember. It's like gaps in time or something. But no matter what, to me, it has continued to get better. And you do adapt to different things. But it is important for any person in any kind of injury or disability or anything that happens. And right now, everybody's being hit with one after another. And all of those are to get you on track. Like I was devastated when it happened. But then I could see, oh, this was to get me on track. I was man, I was willing to just be enslaved. Oh, please, just let me get back to work. Give me any job. I was like, fuck, desperate. I felt so rejected by the rat race. It wasn't good enough. You have to go through all of that part. So you have all these things you have to process and let go of. And so that was why I was like, my healing started in '09. And well, not exactly the healing part. Because well, yeah, because it had to be from the time I came out of the hospital. It wasn't the same Kelly who went in the hospital. That Kelly died. When she came out, she had to redo everything. So, yeah, I had to start healing from the very beginning, but it was all different types of healing, you know? And it was a lot, you know, but there was a big, huge healing and, you know, the loss of my identity and stuff. So, all of the different things, you know, you just got to face them. But it all gets better and it all gets easier, even if it is something serious like a brain injury. But you don't start telling yourself, even when people are telling you just need to go to a nursing home because they're getting frustrated, they're getting irritated with you. And, you know, but you don't, like, I could have been put into one. Like when I very first started on my videos, I even talked about, that was a big part of it was me trying to find my my own identity of, you know, what I can do. Because when you get something, all you can hear about is what you can't do, and people just want to, you know, just go in a nursing home, just you know, you can't do your bills, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so, you know, and then anything that they don't agree with something that I do, then it's like, well, you know, I'm the one who doesn't see it right because I have a brain injury. So everybody just always uses your thing as the excuse as why you know you're wrong and they're right always. So anyways, but you can get through all that stuff and you can support yourself. Like I haven't had any support, you know. I've had to be my own advocate. I've had to be my own mentor, my own teacher, my own physical therapist, all of that stuff. And you find it, that's why I said, like, YouTube is so cool. Like, you can Google and look and find like uh, different things for rehab and stuff like that. There's people who show that stuff and share that stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of things you can learn to do for yourself. You don't have to be dependent on someone else doing it, even though, you know, it's hard. But, you know, the hard things show you what you're made of. So it shows you, like, fuck, man, I can do some shit. Instead of sitting back and going, nobody's there for me. I'm just sitting here by myself. I'm just falling apart. And a lot of people get in that victim, you know, and it is an intoxicating feeling, but you can be buried by it, you know. And I think it's the dark energy that kind of can hold people back. And it's sad because I think, you know, a lot of that dark energy has been with them their whole lives. And so, you know, it kind of is a burden in their life because it is always directing them to do toxic behaviors. And, you know, I think a lot of people who drink too much and do too many drugs and stuff like that, I think that they have got, you know, they need to sober up so they can hear the voices inside their head and stop trying to silence them so they can start recognizing. Because I think a lot of people, they start thinking those dark voices are their own voices, and they start thinking that they're just a rotten, dark, nasty person, and they start not liking themselves instead of recognizing, like, no, you don't like that voice because you're not that voice. That voice isn't in alignment with you. It makes you feel kind of sick because it's not you. You got to recognize it, though. Like I said, they've been able to create serial killers and stuff, you know, get inside their heads. And that's one thing that a lot of people share, is with the MK Ultra stuff, you know, it's more than just that. Like with the CIA files and shit going out, is so much about how they mind control us. And I've been having the roughest time. Like, this is rough, man. Wish I would have never motherfucking seen that goddamn fucking spider video with that coming out of that woman's ear. I don't know why. That is just, I think it really goes back to back on that one I saw. I think it's Believers, and it's old, like Martin Sheen. and it's like a voodoo movie, and the lady gets the thing on her face, and then it's bigger and bigger and bigger, so she starts getting sick. She don't want to go anywhere. She starts staying home, and then it ruptures and all these spiders come out. And so that video of that girl, and her mom, it was a woman, it was a grandma, and the mom pours the peroxide in her ear. And I guess the grandma had been complaining. She thought something was in her ear. And so she poured peroxide, and this fucking spider comes out. It's horrible looking. And I cannot quit thinking about and this is where I got to do these mind play things. I got to keep reminding myself, okay, you're not real. You're not flesh and blood. There's not really, all of these things that they tell you is not real. You don't really have worms crawling around on you and stuff like that. That is all part of the illusion. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience, but it's not real. So you don't have to sit there and focus on it. And, so I got to do those, like my little mantras and stuff. I got to tell myself. It's very energetically draining. And so then so I don't know. It was yesterday, I think, sometime. Seems like, I don't know, in the past 48 hours, I'll just say that. It was, I started feeling something like by my ear. So then I'm like, okay. And I said a couple days ago, I had already felt in there, like, no, my ear holes are really small and tight. I can't even fit, like, how do I even fit a Q-tip? I can't even feel a hole. And so I was like, okay, it's got to be fine. I'm going to get a camera, take pictures of my ear, try and really get in there. God, see, we can just get crazy. And so I was feeling something in my ear, and oh God, fuck yeah. Then I think it started like 3 days ago, really, because it started with my face. And I've talked about this before, where I feel these things crawling around in my face, and then I can see these things in my eye, what they call them floaters, but I think they're nanobot worms or something. And so, because you can see these things and they move around and shit. So, and I wonder if some of that stuff that they leave in there, there's the debris, is their shit and stuff. Like they just poop all over inside your eye and makes it like foggy. So, I don't know. Because even if it was organic, then it would have, so if it was organic parasites, then it would have some kind of debris. But even if it was inorganic, then it would create debris because it would be in the wrong place. So it would be like scraping tissue off and creating debris. So either way, you would get the debris from the thing. But anyway, so I was sitting there, and I started feeling something crawling around, and then I felt it crawl up into my eye. So I started getting, like, trying to be like, okay, what the fuck? I was like freaking the fuck out, like trying to grab it, like what in the hell is coming? And then I think it just slides back down in there. But I can feel all this stuff, and so I was feeling this, and it was going crazy. And so then I'm thinking, okay, said right there in the CIA files that they can do these things. They can make us feel like we've got bugs and stuff on us. Says in their documents that it had been released. This is their MK Ultra stuff. That they can make it where it feels like we've got bugs on us. They can make us get an itch. You can't itch. They can make you get itches all over. All sorts of stuff like that. They say, that's the kind of shit they do. And so I was sitting there thinking, okay, this isn't real. You're not real. Okay, so you're not really bugs inside of you. So this is probably something that with the frequency. And so, the frequency had been weird all day long anyways. And I was, and then when it started being so active and I started feeling other things and stuff, I was like, I wonder if it's the frequency. So we have these nanobot things in us. They turn up the frequency, which excites those things, which gets them all moving. And like when you see where people use the magnet and they'll put it up to the GR stuff and then it will go together, which also, by the way, so the PF place, now they have caught, and I haven't had the ones in the last, thing where they tried to force everybody to do them. I haven't had any of this last batch sickness thing, but I've got a lot of them over the years, And and then they've been putting this shit in our food and stuff and in our water. It's been fucking raining it on us. So we all have the GR stuff in us. That's why I was thinking it was in my eyes and stuff. And so the magnet, what was it? There was something else. Oh, okay. So the again, when I keep talking about the joint pain, and like I was saying about like the autoimmune and stuff with the connective tissue and all these different tissues and how they get affected, and then like MS is like takes the lining off of the shit, like it's all these kinds of things where we're being attacked by the chemicals inside of us. And so let me get back to where it was again. So the chemicals, there's one thing I keep seeing, I gotta see past it. It's like blocking. Because there's the thing that I'm still trying to get to say about it is, oh yeah, okay. So the PF place, so they put it in their paperwork. You can't sue them and stuff from all these injuries, and but now they went and bought another one. So now they own one. It starts with an A. You can look it up. It's kind of like Athena or something like that. So they bought another one. And that one just so happens to have this fantastic new drug to help with all of that joint pain and stuff like that. So all the things that the PF caused, now since they, all they got to do is buy another company and then sell you the stuff for your side effects over here. Because that's all they fucking do. Is that side effects here, side effects there. I can't even believe the commercials now where they just blatantly come out and say, especially with the one with TD. Like, oh my God, I was a psych nurse. You don't, God damn, the ethics behind this shit. You don't fucking tell somebody to keep taking the same damn thing. They should be going off of it. Like, it's a mental. And the people, they don't know. They just go and do what they're told. And these motherfuckers, they're not licensed doctors for your health and stuff. No, these are fucking, so the corporation, which is also all a part of the farms, they're all gangsters. And there's a whole espionage of science espionage that goes on behind the scenes of everything in our lives. We are the products, and they fucking make money off of, like that's why you have a corporation over here poisoning this one town. Because it's all selling data. The data is how these things affect us. Because then they go and create this medicine to save us. It's a whole fucking thing. And the people play along. And then it's even, you're dying. And it's like, still go back for more. Give me another one. Give me another one. So, I mean, just the whole concept of going in and getting chemo when you're chemically assaulted. So go get the worst chemical possible and see if that doesn't kill you. And then if it doesn't, then you're a medical phenomenon. So then they're going to chalk you up. But see, we're all on our own thing. It isn't just the one thing can happen. There's not just one thing that can happen. You can go ride a million scooters. And then the one thing is going to happen because that is what is supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen to you. Just as unique as we all look from one another, we have unique experiences. We're here for the uniqueness of the living nature, the aliveness, the experience. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? And so it is... each one is supposed to be unique. We're not supposed to be trying to blend in and follow each other. But it's insecurity that gets people to be dependent on how others look at them, and then also follow along like the pack of puppies or the baby ducks following because they don't know what else to do. They don't have any confidence. They don't have any believing in themselves, to feel sure about themselves. So most people can't go out and claim their own beliefs. They have to wait and see, well, what does this person believe? Well, okay, I'll just say what they say because that was acceptable, instead of saying what you say. And I got, being as somebody who has always just said what I say, and take the snickers, take the laughs, take the jokes, take the, because now when things flip, I was right. I wasn't crazy. All these years of being called crazy, and I wasn't motherfucking crazy. And so don't take the Snickers, take the laughs, believe in yourself. Believe in whatever is strong inside of you. But, coming to wherever you are in your development, you have to be aware that you do have attachments. Not everything going on up in there is you. There's a lot of shit going on up there. There's a lot of different voices. You have to learn, what is your voice? How is it you feel? And then a lot of people, I don't even think their voice is very strong. I think that they are so overwhelmed by all of the voices of, what others think and what so-and-so said and what so-and-so did over here and stuff. So it's kind of like, people go around just on replay. And the replay is kind of like confirming to themselves all the time that either somebody else is a rotten son of a bitch or either they're perfect. But you got to get into balance of you're both things. You're not one. You're not the extreme. You're not the pole. You're not perfect and you're not the rotten son of a bitch. You're in the middle. You're somewhere in the middle. It's your balance. It's your equilibrium. It's where you find yourself. And you are always in a state of adjustment because the soul is always encountering and growing. So what you think today may not be what you think tomorrow. And that's okay because you're supposed to be growing. You're supposed to be expanding. You're not supposed to be stuck somewhere like 10 years later, still think the same way. How is that healthy? How is that productive? Is that, you got to let go of things. You got to let go of the way you see things and always be open to see things differently and see things more clearly. And it is going to be a difficult thing for a lot of people. Like religion is going to be a really big one, a really hard one for people to get over. I am so shocked by how many people all day fucking long, everybody beware, be careful. There's demons. These are not angels. These are not aliens. These are demons, and they're coming for us. And God is in judgment, and the wrath is upon us. And all of the crickets, the dead fish in Texas washing up on the shore, Newark too. Oh, and there's military everywhere. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much footage I've seen. And they're kind of just hanging on the corner. So what I kind of think is they're ready for anything. They know what cities, and you got to remember, because we're under this espionage, like and it is in so many movies. If you don't understand that, just start, watch conspiracy movies or something, action movies. Pay attention to the storyline. Start seeing the military, just like what I talked about a long while ago. The military is a funneling system to put people, okay, we want them to patrol cities and towns. We want them to be cops. Oh, well, these ones are pretty, they have no moral compass whatsoever, and they're a good shot, so we want them on our team. So we'll hire them over there at the PF. They're going to be in the corporate, it is this whole thing. They've got soldiers that are all involved, and they will, they'll take out a whole city to protect a goddamn thing. Like, it's mental. And that is I think that's been being released to us. Like, I think that's so fucking obvious. It's like right in front of your face. Like, to me, some of this stuff is so obvious. It's like, I don't know how some people don't see it. But yeah, it's like a war going on under our nose that we've never known about. And we didn't know that we were a part of it, and we were being tricked. And so, it's a part of getting out of it, just like in that show, in that movie, Free Guy, when they kept doing all of that, robbing the banks and just doing all that stuff to make the people just be stressed out just for their own entertainment. That is what this place has been the whole time. They're entertained by making us sick so that they can make some thing that we'll run over and buy while they're the one doing it, like when they're laughing at us the whole time. So, okay, there was, oh yeah, okay, so the military thing, I think is, oh yeah, okay. The military thing, I think is, okay, so I'm trying to see two things at once. Okay, so the military, I think, seems like when you see the videos and stuff, like they are making their presence known. And like, you want to fuck with us, try it. And I mean, they've got a big presence. It's not going against us, it's to protect us. And so, but we haven't seen yet what they're protecting us against or from. And so I think there's going to be some explosions, I think, for sure, as of that stuff. They're not going to go to waste on that. And so they're going to use it. And right now, and that's going crazy with the bank stuff, and it's everything is going down. Like you can go in and watch Charlie Ward is talking about it right now. It's all going, and people are freaking out in some other cities and countries and stuff. And like I said, they're burning down banks and going wild. And and see, it wasn't like immediately where they'd go, oh, don't worry, you got money in your account. See, we got to go through this purge part, that part where people get to see their own attachment to the money, their own dark attachment to the money. Like people are got to see that. And the enslavement aspect, there's two aspects. There's a passive and an aggressive aspect to the attachment, and each person has to recognize their own and then detach themselves, which is the process through healing, because we attach to things because of injured wounds that we carry. And then don't forget, you got the attachments that attach to you because of the wounds that you carry. So you see, like it's a whole fucking, you got a pile up that you're trying to heal from back when you were a kid. And, your drop dead Fred was there to tell you the whole world sucked. So you got, and how much trauma you went through, how many drop dead Freds you got on you. So you got to be aware and, be healing that shit so you can feel better and let go of it. And I'm telling you, you'll feel lighter. You'll feel a lot lighter as let them go, tell them to go. And that doesn't mean you're not going to ever have any more negative, like you still have them around. And sometimes I wonder even if it's not your guides just giving you a little test, a little thought, a little way to look at it, to think for a second, because that's what we're trying to do, is learn and expand and grow. So but anyways, yeah. The okay, so where I'm seeing so many people talking about the event, and see, so back in 2016, I think it was around then is when I was hearing about the event, because once I got through my dark night, and then I started doing my healing, and then it was right away, because one of the first things I did was go for a QHHT, because it was during that time too, was where I was looking up stuff on YouTube, and I saw about Dolores Cannon. I'd never heard of her before. And so I think that was after, during my dark night. I mean, fuck, it was dark in the house. It was the weather, everything. Yeah, I don't think I did anything but trying to survive. Then but once I started on my spiritual part, because I already knew about reincarnation, and so when I found Dolores Cannon, no, I had found Dolores Cannon. When was that? Because I remember being so excited about her when I found her, but I was still on Facebook, because I was back on Facebook, because when I was already doing all the pictures of the sky and stuff. So I was already taking pictures of the sky, showing Nibiru or whatever was up there. And you could see it then. And so I was taking all these pictures of the sky. I was learning about that QHHT. I went and got past life regression and got involved with the whole group of these. They're still going, soul based. I get their emails all the time, soul based something. And so it's like a whole group. My daughters kept saying I joined a cult. It's like, they're not a cult. They're a group of people that get together and meditate and talk about things and do Reiki and shit on each other. And so that's how I learned about Reiki and energy. And so it was a lot of stuff. That's when I met this girl and started teaching me about yoga. Like, all of the things have come to me. Like, I didn't even know about some of these things. The chakra, that person came to me that taught me about that. All of the things is when you start your journey and you're interested, the things will come to you. The things for you to learn and understand will come, across your path. And so, I was learning about all of that kind of stuff back then. And that is when, during that time is when I was watching Summits with Alice and Co. And everybody was talking about the event. I mean, and there was solar flashes in it. I wasn't seeing anything about Schumann resonance and solar flashes and shit then. I'm sure it was all still going then. But now, see, everybody's watching it, hyper fixated on it. But I feel certain it was going. But everybody thought the event was going to happen then. I mean, and Alison Co came out and said all these people that were going in their sessions were saying when the date was out. It was like March of 2017, I think. And then it didn't happen. And there was also, besides Alison Co, there's also Fleer. I think her name's Fleer or something. She is, if you've been at this or anything, I'm pretty sure she's still on there. If you've been at this for a few years, there's a few people from way back, like, that you know who they are. And so, everybody was talking about the event was going to happen then. And then it didn't happen. And so then, I paid attention because Daniel Scranton, who's been channeling the Arcturians, Anunnaki was stuck in my mind. He channels the Arcturians, and they had said, they gave him the feeling that it was a few years up. He was thinking more like 2027. And Corey Good, he also had an interaction. He had a long one with the Inner Earth people. And they told him they were us from the future. And there was a bunch of stuff. Like, if you're interested in this stuff, Corey Good, oh man, I just thought he was so fascinating when I first heard about him. And David Wilcock. But I swear, I think it seemed like it was like on Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia Channel. Gaia Channel's got a lot of stuff. If you're new to all this stuff, Gaia Channel is a really good one. And also make sure you watch Initiation. Oh gosh, that is so good. Mateus DeStefano. Oh, he's really, really good. And so the but Corey Good and David Wilcock, they would go and do a lot of like, you'd see their lectures and stuff. Like, you can look up, you can find stuff, you can hear about like secret space programs and all this stuff. And Corey, and how he got taken too, was the test. Those tests, that we filled out in school, that they were looking for certain people. And so they recognized his abilities. And I've talked about this before, because even one of my daughters was taken in their thing. So I knew exactly, I had that reference, what he was talking about. Like, when I did the circles, like, my guides told me not to fill in, they told me just color in the dots. They told me don't do the test. And so I never did those tests. I always just did the things. And I would always get, like, they would, they thought like I was retarded or something. Like, they would be like, what is wrong with this girl? Are you doing this test? Like, you're not this dumb. And I don't remember. I'm sure I just made some excuse. There was a lot of time where I would just sit and look at somebody. I wouldn't say anything. I'd be thinking a lot of things. I just wouldn't say anything. And But Corey Good, that's how they found him. And they took him into, the government is going to give them this special government education. And really, it was going, and they started. It was kind of using their telepathy abilities so that they could communicate with other beings. And I think that that is why they like there's some kind of way that like they could look for us or something, because we can talk to the other beings. And so, but Corey Good, he got caught, but he got caught so the rest of us could see, I think, so that we could see like, oh, okay, we gotta watch out. Because and I don't know like how it works. Like I don't know why, I could do this. And I just thought everybody was. It's been so shocking to me that there's so many people who don't have that, but everybody can get it. Like it'll be part of, your endeavors as you are expanding. So, and that's why I think that there's, some of us are here to try and help people to do it, to show like, yeah, it's real. Yeah, they're really doing it. You're not crazy. You're talking to other people. There's really other beings around you. And, just like when my memory got messed up in my brain injury, it is like they just stepped in. And like when I don't block it and I just allow it, but there's a process to it, then they'll just tell me things, I'll just sit down, and I would always do this all the time anyways, even when I was little. I would be like, ask them if I couldn't find something, I'd ask them where it was and they would tell me. But it's just gotten more like that, where it's just I become more dependent on my higher self for my memory than actually using the part inside the processor that I had. Because before my memory, it was like it was elaborate. It was really I thought everybody had a memory like that. That was something also, it would be more of finding out that I had such a good one by embarrassing things, because I could remember so many people who didn't remember who the fuck I was. And so you'd be like, and they would have no clue. I'd be like, God, what is wrong with people? Like, so there's like a lot of things, but anyways, Corey Good and David Wilcock have got so much good information. If you're just new to UFOs and awakening to the truth and the technology, all of that kind of stuff is in there. And Ancient Aliens has so much stuff where it helps you to see the lies in our skies and stuff, our history and stuff like that. It really opens your mind. Like people are getting their minds opened by other things, but mine was already opened by those kinds of things. So you can go and like I said, Gaia Channel's got so much good content. And so there, there's if all this stuff is new to you, it's a fun, adventure to start learning so many things you don't know about. But it is all real. Reincarnation is real, no matter what they want to try and tell people and stuff. And we this isn't real. You can't die. And it blows my mind too, because so we have all these people out there who are just saying we're going to have the event, it's about to come, like so many people. And so I don't know, I've already gone through this. I don't know, is it about to be the event? I don't know if it's going to be the whole sun thing and it's going to flip the poles and all that stuff. To me, I just keep seeing it as like, military taking action, because they've got to make moves, because these people would drag this out for as long as they could and bumper us right up to, not being prepared. And because the cosmic events are going to be coming. And I think that they want to get people prepared. I think that they are putting like subliminal messages to get people to move and stuff. And they're not just coming right out and telling them. They're letting people's minds click in to pay attention, to start being like, when they are putting it out on the news all the time, well, people with children need to leave California and stuff like that. That is like subliminal messaging to get people to think like, they may not even think, they may just hear it, may just be in there. And then, but then it becomes like a feeling, Like, man, I kind of feel like I need to move. God, this, or maybe they just start looking at things differently. Like, God, I used to like it here, but now it's just like, man. So whatever it is each person. And I think it's kind of like that's what they're trying to do is like, the soft open, you put subliminal messaging out there, and then people who are connecting to themselves or their guides or their environment start picking up on these messages and start moving and going in other directions. And then it'll be a lot less like, fuck, man, if they tried to start telling people, like, we need to evacuate California, like, how the hell would they do it? Like, there would be so many people, and so many people don't know where they would go. And so many people from in California are from other countries too. It's very diverse there. And so, it'd be just utter chaos. And when you get to that part of the understanding, where I think that they're going to take us all to, then you see like, well, some souls came here to pass, to leave the game. They want out of the game. And, like that guy killing his 3 kids and stuff yesterday, that you can see, like, that is soul shit. Like, that is, these souls, like, keep in mind, these are souls coming and doing this stuff. This isn't, these things have been going on for a long time for these people. Long time. This isn't their first life to come and do this. And in the last one, it could have been one of the kids. Was it? They play different roles. It all switches around. So just keep that in mind when you see that. And yeah, when things happen, keep in mind they were always going to happen. You cannot stop what is going to happen. It doesn't matter if you wear a mask, doesn't matter if you wear a helmet, doesn't matter if you wear knee pads, doesn't matter. Any protection thing. Doesn't matter if you put on your seatbelt or you don't put it. None of this protection things that matter, because it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. If you're not meant to be hurt in a wreck, it's not like you can make a mistake and do something wrong and it's going to happen. No, that wasn't your journey. As somebody else's journey. Somebody else was supposed to go through a big car wreck. Somebody else was supposed to lose a friend in a car wreck because it was going to impact them for their whole life. And it was going to give them a different view of things that other people didn't have. And it's the same thing for all of us. So it isn't like you accidentally mess up and something happens. No matter what it is, it was always supposed to happen. And it happens to you so you can see what you do with it. How do you react? How do you behave? And that's why I said, like on that Vanderpump Rules on those girls, and they were all just so angry and bitter. And how that has become like an accepted part of this toxic environment, because it's going to change. It's all purging to the surface so we can see, that's really yucky. If you hold on to bitterness and anger, and especially who has the right to throw the first stone? All of us have sinned. Because we decide, oh, well, my sin's not so bad. Yours is worse. You're really bad. You're a bad person. I'm a good person. You're a bad person. Like, that is childish. We've got to be like, yes, I have sinned. You've sinned. We've all sinned. Yeah, fuck. Doesn't feel good to make mistakes, does it? We don't attack one another. We allow one another. And sometimes we're going to be hurt and by other people's mistakes. And, that's for each person to decide. I mean, when somebody hurts you, you can go deeper into it. You can go get QHHT. You can go into meditation. You can go in and try and figure out, like, what is going on with me and this person. Is this some kind of trauma that we've carried from life to life that we can't get over? Is this, a karmic debt? Did I do something dirty to this person and now I get to feel what it feels like to have it done to me? Like, is it, those are your things to figure out. But all I'm saying is there's something deeper going on. It's not surface like what we think. And to get this idea in your head that you don't die. You die because you think you die. You die because you were told you die. Death isn't even real. And all these people who are so, like, at the same time I'm seeing all these people with the events about to happen. And these people, so many people coming on and saying, okay, your body's changing and the ascension symptoms because your body is going through this and all this. And yesterday just really hit me. I go, what the fuck are they talking about? Your body is not changing. Your body isn't even real. So, how is your body changing if it's not real? It is your mind that is changing. It's all of this is your mind. These people with the 3D, 5D, 4D, and shit like that, it is your change of how you look at things. It is the way you evolve. That is the raising your vibration, going into other dimensions. It is you, how you look at things. And it is the same thing. It isn't our body is changing into crystalline. It is that we are realizing we're not real. When we realize, oh, we're a hologram, like a bug, man. I've got control of this shit. I could I can do that. Is where we're going to start seeming like superheroes, gods, magic and stuff, because we're going to start being able to understand how we can move and do things differently because we aren't real. We have this ability to morph just like these other beings can shapeshift and shit. We can morph, we can do these things, but we have to learn. That's why I said, if your body goes down and you are aware and you see your body go down, you can be like, hey, I don't want to die. I'm going back in, and just jump on right back in. It would be that you were always going to do that. It would be set up. It already would be. I don't know at what point, but I really started thinking about, like, I think that is a part of when the pole shift happens, when we go into this new age of Aquarius, that it isn't going to be all as contracted is here, because the fact that we can live as long as we want to live. We don't die. So I don't know, how all that would work, about, I mean, we're going to have all these beings that are come and explain things to us and help us understand and teach us the things that they know. But, a lot of stuff that is hard to explain, even for them. I mean, Dolores Cannon said that all the time, that they would say that all the time. A lot of things are very hard to explain. They're very hard for even them to understand, much less explain it to us. And so we all have a little bit of, not knowing. And that is why we can't judge one another. Who knows? Like, you know what you know, and you're going to know to the level you know. And your level can change, and you don't know what level, if you're more advanced or less advanced, I think the more advanced is the more you let go of shit, the more you can share love and acceptance. Then I think you be pretty sure you're advancing when you see yourself make new reactions to things. You don't just behave in your same toxic behavior. You don't just become reactive. You're thoughtful. You think about things. You're more mindful. Before you do something or say something, you think about, like, is this really a good thing? How would this be? Is this going to just benefit me? Is this going to hurt someone else? Like, process through what you're putting out into the world. And, all of those things, and I would say you'd be pretty sure you are moved into 5D, because your change in your consciousness is your things you are thinking about is a higher consciousness rather than just surviving in the game. And that's 3D, that is lower consciousness. And survival is, survival rate in the game, you can see, has been like dog eat dog. There's violence and anger and bitterness. Like, it's a rough game, But when all these people who think they're so awakened and stuff, and talking about demons and our flesh and blood is changing and all that stuff, and it's like, no, everything to me is wrapping your head around the spiritual stuff, And when you go in, you don't try and force things. If something doesn't make sense to you, if it sounds like a bunch of hogwash, it sounds like ridiculous, like, there's no fucking way we're born to over and over and over. Like, if you just can't get your head around there, they'll bring you information. They'll take you down the baby step path. They'll get you to where you need to be. That is where you got to trust your own inner knowing. Like, they'll get it to where you will understand. You don't have to just accept. Don't accept because somebody said, well, I just have to accept it. Don't just accept there's reincarnation because I said. Go look into it for yourself. And if it's not making sense, then that part, you're not to that part yet. There's other things that you need to learn to get you up so you understand it. And so it's all a development. And, and everybody's coming from different stages. It's like I said, like, man, it blows my mind, some of these spiritual people who are out there. Teaching about spirituality, and they haven't healed. They were atheist last year, and now all of a sudden they're the leaders in spiritual awakening and stuff. So, but all of those things have to be shown, like, in the people doing it, they have to see that side of themselves. They have to see this, like, this inflated ego. And then when you recognize your inflated ego, then you got to recognize why am I trying to get people to like me? Why am I trying to be the best? Why am I trying to those things, so that you can walk yourself back to see, like, because blah 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 happened, and then I felt blah blah blah, so I've overcompensated through life so I can try and it's something that you're not even have in the forefront of your mind. You have to really dig in there to find this shit, to heal it. And all you got to do to heal it is just to recognize it, just give it its moment in time, see it, acknowledge it, and then let it go. And then you will just feel lighter. You'll just feel like, and the more that you can accept and forgive yourself, the more you can accept and forgive others. And that is such an important part in your journey. Like I was talking about that one girl who I haven't been seeing, the princess, Anunnaki princess. I haven't been seeing her, but man, I just, I didn't know where she was on her healing thing. But when she did that whole video trying to, what is that, like dox your mom or something, humiliate your mom, try and get your mom, and she's not, I've seen more footage of these people doing this. Like, there's people, like, who really get caught up in, like, their parents, a horrible person, and they want the whole world to see. And so they do these videos and try and provoke a fight. The girl was doing, the mom just, man, some of these moms, like, there's just so many people who are just not healed. Oh my God. And so many people out there exploiting the fuck out of their kids for money. God damn, that is wicked, man. Like, oh gosh, that one lady who shares all that shit. Oh my God, I can't even believe what some people will do with their kids for money. One was, like, they videotape them, like, tell them somebody died and videotape them and stuff. Like, they're constantly, people are trying to get their kids on videotape to go viral by humiliating them, getting these reactions and stuff. It's just like, man, so fucking selfish, but, like, that's part of their scene. And then they have to, once they see, then they have to try and recognize, like, why did I do that? Why would I be that way? Why would I exploit my child like that? Why would I be desperate? Why do I need, and there's so many things, even being to the thing of, like, why do I feel like I need money? That goes back, and it can go back into other lives where you were super poor. And then in this life, you were no way you were going to be poor. So, it's very complex, the things that people are healing. And that is why it's so important for you to really connect to yourself. Don't worry about what other people think and stuff. Try and get yourself some appointments for past life regression. Try and pull the surface to some of the toxic relationships that you don't know how to fix and how they originate. Where's the origin of this problem that you're having? It may not even be down to the basic. It may just be a past life where you're playing the same thing out. And it could be, they're showing you that some other thing. But those are all things that you have to start to recognize in your own communication and develop that. It's more developing, focus on that development more than focus on following what somebody else is doing or saying. Make sure that you are developing yourself. Because like I said, all these people out there, these big content creators are going through all of this time. All these things are happening, and all these opportunities to heal and grow and prepare. And they may be, prepared. I'm not saying they're not prepared, but they're very focused, hyper focused on something rather than doing a lot of healing. And so then when everything switches, they're going to be starting with their healing just like with all of these other people. There's going to be a huge, huge amount of people. But the only good thing is, I think about it, is because like when I had to do mine, I'm counting it from the whole thing. And like I had said, one of the things I was noticing was people were waking up to different things. So, they could have been, in counseling for 3 years working on their childhood trauma. But they have no idea about the politics. They could have several of these. They have no idea about this or that. And then when all of that stuff comes, well, they've already done the foundation work. So they're going to be able to go through it a lot more faster. So that is the one thing, is I think that there's been a lot of build up. So I think a lot of people are to a different level. It's not like where I was in the very beginning of the healing. They're already way up here. But then when everything switches, that's the big process part, and how it's going to affect different people. And so many people, it's going to affect their ego so strongly because they've been out there, running their mouths and saying what's right and who's wrong and all that shit. I think that was very interesting too. Not only, we have in the streets lined with military and stuff like that, prepared for whatever they're bringing on us, but for Joe to be up talking yesterday and be like, what storm? I heard there's a storm coming. It's like, I just really hope we get that Scooby-Doo. I swear to God, that would just be the cherry. Just pull that fucking mask off. We want to see who's underneath. And so, I did this video the other day. I said, boy, that old Joe, he was real son of a bitch, man. He thought he was a real gangster, didn't he? And I can't remember the whole thing. But somebody came in and, thought I was ridiculous or whatever, because they really think, like, they really believe this guy up there is really Joe. Like, there's so many people who really believe all this stuff going on is really happening, that all this is real and all that is, so anyways, this is going to be very interesting to watch. But that's the only thing, but it is going to be still super impactful. It's still going to be like going into the dark night, when facing the ego. And the ego is what has so many people locked into the 3D. And so facing the ego is the dark night. So even though there's a lot of healing that has been going on leading up to this part is going to be very impactful. And that is, that's where we're going to see a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of death as a part of the awakening too. Like, there's going to be a lot of people are going to leave at once, because that's a part of the big impact of like, oh my God, And so then all huge amounts of people will have to come together. The Christians and the witches will have to come together, because they'll all be affected in the same way by the same things, and they'll have to come together on their differences and get over their biases and recognize the things that they divide on don't exist, only in their own minds. And so anyways, we still got to go through all that, but that is why, is to bring people together in crisis so that they can get over the things that they keep staying divided on. So there's a really good positive thing, but even though it's going to be a lot of tragedy. But so we got that. I just really don't see, hold on, how it could just be the event and all of that go right now with the sun flash, when the people aren't even awakened yet. And we got the aliens in the sky. We got the pole shift. We got the government go down. We got the bank go down. Like, that just, to me, it is, there's got to be a lot of stuff that's got to go down. And that's all the awakening. So people start, healing different things. So that when, and it is the pole shift is the changing directions. So I think it is us that change the direction. Like, all of us individually are changing our direction. And so I don't know what that thing is. It's kind of like it's a lot of pieces of metal all going like a wind going in one direction, and they're all facing the one direction. But then as one turns and faces another direction, another turns, and they all start turning to face the other direction. That is the part where we're in. And so when they all turn to face the other direction, that is the pole shift. So it's like we are the creators of the pole shift, because we all turn to face the other direction. And that is turning everything. So it's us looking at it is the turning it. And so then that turning it and the shock value is what creates the solar flash. That's what I think, if we look at it like energetically, of like a math problem, instead of just looking at it like fears and stuff like that. And, there is more talk, though, where people are realizing that the sun is portals. There's portals up there. It's not a fireball that's going to blow up and it's going to burn us up. It's energy. And it's energy that is coming in. So if you don't have an open mind, if you don't have love and forgiveness in your heart, then that is, when the energy is coming in, that's what makes people feel so sick and feel so run down and feel so bad. It's because they've got all of that dark energy in them that they need to release. But when they get an ego and they're not paying attention and they're too hyper-focused on this or that, then they're not doing the proper process of releasing all that energy. And so it becomes like a burden, and it becomes heavy and toxic. So that's what I'm saying is the stuff is occurring, you got to be healing to keep up, to keep going with the flow. And so you can stay comfortable feeling, and even with that, it can still be super uncomfortable, like whatever the hell, with things crawling in my face, still having so much sleep disruption and stuff. So you'll still be affected. Like all day yesterday, I felt like, it's weird because it's not like it's my energy, but it's like I don't know whose energy I'm feeling, but it will feel so anxious. Oh my God, it feels so anxious. And it's just like, and that just wears me out. Like, oh my God. And so, you'll still feel a lot of things, but, it's kind of going in and realizing, looking at your stuff, and managing and trying to understand yourself, trying to understand your body, your reactions, how you feel and whatnot. So anyways, I start getting so uncomfortable because my joints are all stiff, and then they're going to come out with this smell. What have I been saying? I know it's the fucking chemicals and the toxins, and I can tell when we'll get really hit, because I'll have more pain. I'll have more joint stiffness and stuff. And now, they're going to, all these pills and stuff they keep putting out are the problems that they're causing. They're creating this stuff and then selling us secure. It's like, man, but so today is Saturday. We have military everywhere. Anything can go down. There's already the bank stuff going. I feel, if this isn't the weekend that the banks crash, if it isn't Monday where something really significant, like I still don't know how they can drag it out. Like one bank crash this day, another one crash this day. Who fucking knows what their shit? But if this isn't the bank crash this weekend, I will be shocked. It just seems like they are there was a lot of stuff leading up to this weekend, and then for them to be putting military out everywhere, all over the place, and that they know they're going to react bad, because if they're putting this other thing in, but if they're not going to put the quantum one in first, if they've got to go through that Fed now, then you would think the other ones would be happy, but they know that they're going down. So anyways, I think that this weekend there'll probably be some strikes, of things. This is definitely every single thing. You got to pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to what's going on around your area. Mine is so many planes going over, and they're so loud, and some of them would even start sounding like lightning and stuff. It was weird. I was like, and it's so much atmosphere. And now they changed our weather to storms for the next 7 days or something. And so no sun, it's just cold and stormy. And so with thick atmosphere, you can't see anything. And then the constant explosions, and besides just the explosions in the sky, I don't know what the hell. Like the other day, somebody just all of a sudden, I mean, at first when you're hearing it, you have to sit there and listen and think, okay, so is this mass shooting or is this fireworks? And it kept going and going and going and going. And then other days there will be a whole bunch of shooting. It'll be like, so I don't know. When I went on the walk yesterday, I did find some shells and stuff. So I don't know if they just go up there and just shoot at things for fun. I didn't think you're supposed to be hunting this close to where people live. So I don't fucking know. It's uneasy. It's uneasy. I have all these people out here just shooting shit, like, and then every time you gotta stop and listen and be like, okay, is this something taking off? Is shit about to go? And then the sounds over here are so strange, and it keeps being really weird, loud things driving down the street. Like there's just an intensity, a big intensity, like you can feel this intensity coming, and I don't know what it is, so each person, you just have to just go with the flow. Just know you came here for this. You're safe, you're protected, and it is kind of like the anxiety or the anxiousness building up to kind of like, think of it like this, like your soul went through all this training to jump out of an airplane, and you've done all the testing, you've done all of this stuff, and now you're in the airplane and we're up there flying, and now is going to be where you're going to test your skills. Now you're going to jump out of the plane and test your skills. So it is that anxiety of knowing, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to jump out of the plane. I'm going to, am I going to do it right? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And so just keep in mind, that is what, we all feel that build up. We're on the plane. We're headed towards something that we have trained for. So we're ready. Your soul's ready, but there is a lot of anxiety leading up to it, of the unknown, of what's to come around the corner. So, but that is for us to manage ourselves, manage our minds, manage our emotions, and keep ourselves in check, keep ourselves calm. Take time to yourself. Take time. If you need time to relax and calm down, then you got to notice that for yourself and take it. And so anyways, it's all part of the thing. It seemed like there was some more stuff that I wanted to say, like some more videos and stuff, but there is a lot going on, and it's, all this stuff is all stuff that I've been saying for a long while. So just do what you need to do. That's all I can say. You do what you need to do. Focus on you, and you do what you need to do. But Donna, I am really excited your daughter is got that bite. That really makes me feel, because she has guides that she talks to. That really makes me see that is more of like, we don't have to think that the earthquake is about to go down. The earthquake could go down probably. The changing the West Coast will probably go down with some of these other more big event things. When the cataclysm shit starts going. And right now it's all leading up, but you know, when the West Coast changes. And I don't know, like, you know, I saw there's this guy that I follow, and he's always talking about the housing thing, and I'm not sure where he's at, what part of the state that he's always showing, because he was showing this really cool ass house on this river, and he said it was like $5 million. He's always talking about how they're jacking up the thing. He even went, he's got a family of four, and he found a house, little tiny house that was 600 square feet, so it was like around the same as mine. And he I think he said it was like 20,000 bucks or something. And so him and his wife wanted to get it with their kids. They were just like, we'll just make it work. And they called the realtor, and they said there was already two offers. They can't see it without making an offer, and they have to make an offer over the asking price. Realtors and developers, like I've been saying for a long time, they're part of the problem. They are so much a part of the problem. They are corrupt as motherfucker. And they make that choice. You make that choice. We're going to see a lot of people that you think of, just regular Joes, are going to be going down for shit. And, but, what was that? Because that woman, I mean, I just went blank. Anyways, just, something with, my brain is too tired. I'm tired. Even yesterday, I was so tired because I had been up since 1:30 or 2. It's weird. You just lay there and you just can't, it's like you can't relax. You can't relax. It's weird. So, and yesterday I didn't, it's back to, if I even lay down and fall asleep for 1 second, Stella will jump up. It's like she's tuned into my energy or something, where then I feel like it's an interrupter. It's an energy that is here to create chaos. And keep that in mind too. You've got those around you too. You've got energies that are around us to keep us chaotic, keep us feeling tense and stuff. So, but those are things for each person to recognize in themselves. But I always feel like that they start using Stella. So, because I can recognize, and so then they'll use Stella to interrupt me. So, I don't know. I've gone through this before, where they kept waking me up every fucking 5 minutes. So I'll get through it if that's what they're going to do. Hopefully, I just hope is once the shit starts going, it is going to be a big crash in the energy. You know, that will be the pole shift. And so there's going to be all of those things that are going to turn us. So that is going to, it's just going to feel so much better. I just can't wait. This is energetically draining. So anyways, I will talk to you later. Bye.